I'll just have to tell you right now.
Hello, everyone. I cannot tell you how excited I am about today's Strong at Home session. Do we ever have a treat for you? This is Dr. Brenda Murphy, once again, educational psychologist, bringing you information to help you be strong at home. And this week, we've been talking about minding your brain. And today's conversation is going to be transformational in your life. It is a treat. Because I always personally like to explore brand new topics that I know very little about. And today I'm going to bring into our conversation. Good morning, Dr. Martin. And Dr. Martin is an audiologist, and he is going to talk about a topic that is very, very intriguing to me, how music impacts our brains. Actually, Dr. Martin, I have never really heard anything about this. Why is it, I can't have a hint, but why is it that this is not banner headlines everywhere?
Well, it's an exciting topic, and it is something that it is talked about, but just not in the general public. Psychologists and therapists, audiologists have understood and used the power of music for things like how we treat patients. A lot of times we treat children with music for pain. We use music to treat people's brains, who are stressed and need to de-stress. So it's a new arena that we're talking about. And really one of the things that makes it more captivating is that now that we can do things like functional MRIs, where we can actually see the brain at work, it's allowed us kind of an inside glimpse, kind of behind the curtain view of what's happening inside this area. And using music, we're able to see some things that we've never seen before, insights that we never knew. So it's an exciting time for us.
Man, that so captivates my imagination. And what was thrilling is when I asked Dr. Martin to join us here on Strong and Hope, I said, well, kind of summarize what we will be talking about. He wrote back that his passion is to help individuals build their potential and their dreams. And he says using music, that totally came out of left field for me. But using music as a catalyst is one of the greatest tools we have as humans. And as an educational psychologist, I'm obviously aware of this MRI function. And it's like, why did I never think of this before? For those of you who do not know, functional MRIs and SPECT scans and other imaging gives us real-time pictures of how our brain responds to different stimuli. Like, if you are, maybe if you're eating chocolate and you're having that, what does the brain look like in that condition? Or if there's something for like our children, we often work with children and in seeing what attentional issues they have. And when they are confronted with a difficult task, that MRI shows it and exactly where it's happening. This is amazing information. So how are we going to utilize music? Oh my gosh, we all love music.
We are. And, it's interesting, I don't know for all your viewers, if they've ever heard the phrase, we only as humans use 10% of our brain. I know a lot of us have heard that, and it's not really true. We actually use a lot of our brain. That was actually based off of a study done by a physician looking at the impact of what happened when he surgically removed different areas of a mouse's brain and what they did. And his hypothesis was that we only use 10%. Which is not true, which is what makes music so powerful. Music is one of the only forms of media that we have as humans that activates the right hemisphere of our brain and the left hemisphere of our brain in over 7 locations.
Oh, that is fantastic. And with that, for those of you in our audience who have not really investigated much about the brain or the neuroscience of it, is that in a very basic way, the brain is made up of two halves or two hemispheres, and one is the left and one is the right. And as an educational psychologist, we actually work a lot with that kind of thinking in education, because some individuals have deficits in right hemisphere functioning, which is visual and primarily visual and visual motor, and others in the left hemisphere, which is auditory and verbal. But as Dr. Martin just said, what kind of struck a chord with my educational psychology background is it's in areas in both parts, I assume, simultaneously. Those of you, I cannot tell you what a huge aha that is for me and should be for you.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. And it impacts different areas like intensity, pitch, rhythm, intonation, and vision. For example, one of the studies that was done was watching musicians who play the piano, for example, watch a video of another pianist playing a piece. And what's interesting is that the area of the brain that would light up when you're playing the piano, using your motor skills and those skills, were actually being activated in the observer of the person playing the piano. We call those mirror cells. I mean, we do it in a lot of ways, but what's incredible is that those same areas are impacted just from what we see visually from watching musicians or playing a guitar. And the intensity, like, the louder a sound is, the more alerting it is. The softer a sound is, the more calming it is. So if you want to calm down a individual who is stressed, we all do this, probably subconsciously go home if we had a stress day and we turn on the radio, or we turn on some classical music, or we turn on some light jazz, something just to soothe us in the background that's not all over the place. None of us go home and put on Anthrax, which is a heavy metal band that basically sounds like you're taking 25 dumpsters and dropping them off the entire Empire State Building and recording what happens at the bottom. That's the reality of it. So it's a little crazy. There's so many aspects of music that we're now incorporating it into the way we treat PTSD, the way we work with people who have ringing in their ears and their head and those kind of things. So music is now not taking a backseat, because we're now understanding how it engages our brains, even our emotions. Music is so powerful that you can hear a piece of music and it can bring you to tears.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Or for example, I tell this story, people laugh. Back when I had hair, and I was in high school, I remember driving my car, which is a beat up car, home from school. And on the radio came a song called Dreamweaver. It was an old song back in the 70s. And I remember the song, and it was a beautiful day. The windows were down. And I just remember thanking God for being alive.
Aww.
So fast forward 30 years, I'm driving in Florida, and I'm driving in the car, and that song comes on the radio, and instantly I could tell you what clothes I had on. I could tell you the conditions of the weather. I could tell you how I feel, because music engages our emotions so strongly that it can bring back memories and episodes and things that we remember instantly. So again, it's such a powerful tool that can be used in different ways to teach us to engage our body.
Yeah. Oh, all these light bulbs are going off for me, Dr. Martin, in what you're saying, because some of what we've talked about when we've talked about the way the brain functions, and I know personally in my practice that memory is a huge issue in learning for so many people. The opportunity and the possibilities of bringing in something that I guess it's a God-given innate feeling to want to be surrounded or engaged in music. It's just built in that if we are excited, sometimes we have a favorite song we want to play.
Exactly.
Or like you're saying, for me, at the end of the day, I want to listen to classical music.
Yeah.
So what I hear you saying, though, is that the professionals in your field and the researchers are taking this love of music and innate desire for the humans to work with music and be surrounded by it to another level.
Yeah.
That where you're saying that this is also used appropriately can change the way we are. We can change our behavior. We can change the way we approach things so that if we've reached roadblocks in our ability to dream and achieve, that potentially with the right input of music, these things are now possible. Am I hearing you correctly?
You are hearing me correctly. And there are lots of studies that look at the different types of music. And I know this is one of the areas when there are children in the audience, they go, oh no, because the parents love me talking about music and the impact. Not all music, though, is the same. Classical music is more impacting on our brain than random music. You know, if you think of like taking a pebble and you drop it in a pond, you get these very structured ripples that happen, that go out. Very
Yes.
structured.
Yeah.
Taking your hand and just slapping the water, it goes everywhere.
Right.
That's the difference between listening to certain music, what it creates in our brain, right?
Yes.
And so you can create a chaotic environment, or you can create a very structured control environment. And so because of the math, and I think from a homeschooling standpoint, I always encourage our kids to do something musical, because music has an impact on not only improving math skills, music can also improve language, how we speak and how we talk.
Can you explain? I am not a math person. I've learned to love it in some areas. That intrigues me, how music and math are related. Can you expand on that for us just a little bit?
I can. You know, music is a time-based stimulus, right? It happens in time. And so when you're counting, you count in either quarter notes, which is one beat of time, a half note, which is 2 beats of time, or a whole note, which can be 4 beats. You could have and if you think about math, it's numbers. Math's based into thirds and quarters, and how we look at piano and notes and fractions.
Yeah.
It's all music. I have a friend that lives in Nashville. I work with a lot of musicians in Nashville, and he actually wrote a song out on a board mathematically using the number system, which is what they use in Nashville a lot. Which is another great conversation.
Oh my!
It represents language and how they're synonymous, and how if you've got a kid who's doing music, their language skills will be improved and their math skills will be improved, just because of the structure of music and how they can relate to that. So anyway, there's so many connections there, and I'll see if I can find that picture at some point, maybe send it to you, Doctor.
Yes, oh yes, and we'll post it on the website. Anything that you have, Dr. Martin, you can send to us, and we will post in a resources place. The technical people will tell us where to put it. I promise everyone that we will have these supporting documents for you, because there is so much here that is like revelational to me, that musicians are using mathematics to impact. So that's one of the secrets of writing great songs.
Yeah. Yes. There's a harmonic relationship, a mathematic relationship between songs, 2 and 4, 6 and 8. There can be notes. If you play a piano and you look at the scale and you number them 1 to 12, which are only 12 notes on a piano, and you number them and you use all the notes that are 2, 4, 6, 8, and you play them, you get a beautiful melody. You get this beautiful chord. But if you play like a 1 note and then a quarter note and a third note, you start adding in what we call dissonance. Dissonance is where the notes kind of clash a little bit. Popular music and classical music uses some dissonance as well, but popular music is more of what we call consonance. It's very open.
Yeah.
Dissonance adds a little bit of suspense to it. People who love jazz like dissonance, because jazz is a lot of half notes and third notes and melody notes that are not in the scale of music. So those things add flavor. It's like cooking almost. You can cook with salt and pepper, right? But if
Right.
you add some paprika, you add some different spices, that's what gives a flavor to a meal. Same thing in music.
Oh, and this is revelational again to me. And you know what? You're not going to believe this, but our time is up on this session.
Oh, wow.
And we just barely scraped the surface.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to come back and continue at least a portion of this conversation with us for tomorrow?
I certainly would. It'd be my pleasure.
Thank you so much. So for today, everyone, we're going to end our Strong at Home for this session, and we will be back with Dr. Martin tomorrow. And I'm going to end as we always do, because we know that we're all of the ability to become and stay strong at home resides in the blessings of the Lord. So the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and bring you peace. And we so all need peace. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Bye-bye for now.